And a pleasant good evening to you, and welcome inside historic Bossy Field, where the Windy City ThunderBolts and Evansville Otters are set to play the middle game and final game of this three-game set. A good evening to you, and welcome in. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. I want to thank everyone who dealt with our technical difficulties last night here with Flow. We're hoping that we got everything worked out. If anything happens here with the Flow broadcast, just hop on over to the Otters Digital Network there on Evansville Otters YouTube page, and you can listen to the game there while we get things fixed on our end. Again, thank you for dealing with some of the issues we were dealing with yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, it was a back and forth game that featured excitement all the way through. It was actually the ThunderBolts who got started early. First inning runs again. The Otters have really struggled, giving up lots of runs in that first inning. It came after 3 walks were given out by starter Parker Brahms. Then a pretty simple RBI single from Peyton Isaacson gave him the 1-0 advantage. That 1-0 advantage would hold all the way to the 5th inning when the Otters finally struck for their first time on back-to-back doubles from Elijah Mcnamee and Miles Gordon. That Gordon double ended up scoring Mcnamee for the first run of the inning. A couple batters later, Andy Armstrong reached on a drop third strike. It set up a Gary Mattis sacrifice bunt RBI. If you think of the type of game Gary Mattis plays, this fits in perfect for what he usually does. It was the second RBI of that inning and gave the Otters a 2-1 advantage. Well, Windy City didn't let that happen for too much longer and found a way to get right back in it in the 6th inning when they tied the game up on a solo shot from Jake Boone. That thing traveled 395 feet over the left field wall, tying our game at 2 runs apiece. And just like that, Windy City grabbed one more run to take the lead in the top of the 7th on a RBI double from Jarius Richards, their leadoff man. They held that 3-2 advantage to the bottom of the 9th. The Otters got the inning started well, but a close play at first resulted in J.R. Davis being called out. There was discussion afterwards. Andy McCauley didn't like it. The fans here at Bossy didn't like it. Didn't matter. Davis had to head back to the dugout. Then Mcnamee reached on a walk, the next batter. He tried to steal second and was caught advancing. And before we knew it, Miles Gordon was looking at a 2-strike, 2-out approach. The Otters down to their last strike when he sent one 406 feet over the right field wall to tie our game at 3 runs apiece. That was all it wrote into the 9th inning. And we went to the 10th for the first time this year, the Evansville Otters at least. 4th or 5th time that Windy City has thus far. Top half was a great performance from Joe Riley, including a big heads-up play to fire a pitch over to second instead of to first in order to get the lead runner and keep his Otters in a good position to close out that inning. Then in the bottom half of the 10th inning, I mean, it would be a surprise if it was anybody else. Zach Bierman with a walk-off RBI single brought in Andy Armstrong, who was the ghost runner out there at second, and the Otters won their first extra innings game of the year, 4-3. Getting the win in relief was Joe Riley. The loss there in relief for Windy City was Lane Schmitz Paxton, his 3rd loss of the season. And the Otters cruised out to a 13-9 record now, which is the most games over 500 they've been all season long. They're just a half game out of first place behind the Washington Wild Things. Obviously, the Otters are hoping for a couple of wins here and a loss or two from Washington and or Schaumburg. Quick look there at the Seal Corp Frontier League standings. Washington, of course, leading the way. Evansville and Schaumburg a half game back each. Then at 2 games back are both Windy City and Gateway. Then it's a little bit more of a gap before Joliet, Lake Erie, and Florence fall into play. On the East, new day, same story. Quebec still leads things with a 19-4 record. 2.5 games back is Ottawa. Then it's a big gap to the rest of the field. Tri-City at 5.5 games back, and then it's 8 games or more all the way down to the bottom. Empire State still looking for win number 1 on the campaign there. We'll keep you updated with how the standings look, especially after our first game this evening. Once we've finished half of our doubleheader, we'll kind of walk you through what the standings look like once the Otters are kind of even in games played with most of the Frontier League there. As good a time as any to also walk you through what's going on in the Frontier League today. Take a look at the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. Currently already in action are New Jersey and Lake Erie. The Jackals have a 3-2 lead over the Crushers in the 7th inning. This is a completion of a suspended game from last night. Empire State and Quebec have been postponed. They will not play this evening, so Empire State will have to wait at least one more day before they get their first win. That game's going to be made up on the 12th of July. Tri-City and Washington just about to get started there in Washington, Pennsylvania. New Jersey and Lake Erie will play a game 2 following the completion of their first one. New York at Sussex County, they're just about to get started there. Ottawa, they're in Trois-Rivières. That game has also been postponed for July 12th. Both the Canadian series not underway tonight. Gateway at Schaumburg. That's a Gateway team we're going to see here at Bosse Field tomorrow night. And Florence at Joliet tomorrow as well. And then the whole evening will be rounded up by game 2 between Windy City and Evansville here. Should be a fun evening of baseball. We've got 2 really intriguing pitching matchups for you. The first one being between Kenny Matthews and Justin Watlin. You know, if you were a betting person looking like, who am I going to take to Vegas as the guy to jump on with on this Otters pitching staff, Justin Watlin might not be your first choice, but he has really exploded onto the scene. Been a lot of fun to watch. He's 1-1 officially this year in his 4 starts with a 2.35 ERA, but he has been rock solid. The one game that he gave up the most amount of runs in was all the way back against New Jersey there in the early parts of the season. If you remember that game, it was on that Saturday night when the Otters were up 8-4. He was in a great position to grab the win in that, but then the struggle in the resumed game the next morning ended up with the Otters losing the game, and of course that meaning Watlin losing the opportunity for a decision in that one. Watlin also pitched a great game against Quebec. That was the game that Evansville was able to win against Quebec and is one of just 2 losses that Quebec has taken here in the last 3 weeks. Well, as you can see there on your screen, that countdown is getting ever close towards first pitch. We will take a break, and on the other side, we've got first pitch between Evansville and Windy City in game 1 of our doubleheader. Don't forget to stick around. Later this evening, we'll have game 3 about 30 minutes following this one. We've got a great night of baseball planned here from historic Bosse Field between the Thunderbolts and Otters. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is right around the corner on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And we are ready for first pitch here from historic Bossy Field. Lineup's been announced in-house. The anthem has been sung. Perfect opportunity to let you know that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by our friends at Working Distributors Evansville, who are in attendance tonight. Glad to have them both as a sponsor this year and in attendance here on this Thirsty Thursday, wrapping up a three-game set with Windy City. Let's introduce you to the man on the mound for the Evansville Otters. It's going to be Justin Watlin. Man, Watlin has a lot of good things to say about him. He is 1-1 this year, 2.35 ERA in his 4 games pitched, just about 23 innings of work thus far, and he's stacked up the strikeouts pretty nicely. In fact, his last 3 starts have all been really good. We'll get more into that later in this half inning. Let's introduce you to the 9 men he'll face. On the Windy City side of things, they'll kick it off with their designated hitter, Jarius Richards, followed by Robinson and Myers. Myers is a guy to watch out for. Entered the series batting .392, leading the team in that, RBIs and hits. But he had a 10-game hit streak broken last night. Keep your eye there on the 3-hole. The rest of it looks pretty similar. Jake Vanderwaal will actually start this game, and Jose Layer making his first appearance in this series as well. The Windy City Thunderbolts are managed by Brian Smith, hitting coach Kevin Santiago, assistant coach Corey Wright, and athletic trainer is Ryan Shimaki. Really excited to see these two work together. Before we get any further, let's let you know that Watlin on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery sponsored by our friends at the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know Evan the Otter sent you. Final warm-up pitch has been tossed, and it looks like we are just a second away from getting started here. Jarius Richards making his walk towards the plate. Finally picked up his first base hit last night in the 7th inning. That was a RBI double, and at that point was in line to be the winning run for Windy City. Instead, it was just number 3 in their final run of the day. So he's dug in. 3 straight lefties start off this Windy City team. First pitch from Watlin in there, called strike 1. And just like that, we are kicked off on a thirsty Thursday evening. Nicholas Saxton behind home plate. Kevin Furman and Mike O'Leary manning things out there on the base paths. Missing way up high is Watlin. Let's dig a little bit more into Watlin's year thus far. He pitched in that game against New Jersey, was pulled early because of the rain, and ended up losing the decision because of it. At the time, the Otters were up 8-4. They went on to lose that because of a couple different reasons, mostly because of the relief pitching by Bowles. It just wasn't quite up to snuff. He had to come in and pitch on that Sunday morning, and it just didn't all work out. So Watlin lost the decision there. He also did not get a decision in the game that he pitched against Quebec, as the ball is sent high and not too deep into left center field, and dropping back to make the catch is Andy Armstrong for out number 1. Give you a quick glance around the Otters' defensive alignment. Baez, Gordon, and Mcnamee, exactly what you expect out there in the outfield. Davis, Armstrong, Mattis, Bierman across the infield, just like you'd expect, and Felix behind the plate. Nice to see the Otters starting to fit into a groove. A little bit more about Watlin there is then he had that game against Quebec. In that game, he allowed 3 runs on 4 hits in 6 innings. But of the 3 runs, only 1 was earned. 2 of them occurred because of work on the defensive side of things from his defense, a couple of errors. Well, the Otters went on to win that game, but unfortunately, Watlin did not receive the results in that because the game was tied when he left. But it was a great performance from him. Then, in his last 2, he's 1-1, including a complete game pitched against Trois-Rivières in that doubleheader. Ball is sent towards shallow center. Gordon chasing in towards it. Looked like he had lost it for a second, but he hauls it in for out number 2. So with 2 up, 2 down, it brings up the third baseman, Darryl Myers. Closing statements there on Watlin. His last game was against Gateway just this last weekend. He went 7 complete innings, giving up no runs on 2 hits. striking out 7. It was a wonderful performance. And really, if he wasn't at 113 pitches, he probably would have kept going in the game. But the team did end up winning 13-4 in that game. Pitch on the way for him, and this one falls in there for a called strike 1 against Daryl Myers. Like I mentioned, Myers had a 10-game hit streak broken last night. So Myers is hoping to turn his tides in the right direction. The 0-1 tries to catch the high outside corner. It does for a called strike 2. There on the pitch that just snuck underneath 90. Watlin on the 0-2. Misses a bit further outside. Trying to sneak something in there with the off speed was Justin Watlin. Trying to get this first inning done 3 up, 3 down. See if he can do it on the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. They're going to have to throw down to first on the drop third strike. Get it down there in time, and it's 3 up, 3 down to start this game. Windy City 0, Otters coming up to bat with Mattis, Bierman, and Davis right after the break. Ready for the bottom half of the first inning, and here's the starting man for Windy City. It's going to be Kenny Matthews, who was supposed to start on Tuesday night, but of course that rain postponement led the game to today, and they ended up keeping him on the shelf for today. He's pitched in 4 games this year, has a 1-1 record, ERA just over 4, and he's clocking in just underneath a strikeout per inning of work. And we'll introduce you to the individuals he'll be facing. Pretty similar lineup to last night. Mattis, Bierman, and Davis kick it off. Phillips, Baez, and Mcnamee through the middle. Gordon, Felix, Armstrong round things out. Big change there is that Baez moved down to the 5 spots. So here comes the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis, who in last night's game had a hit and a sacrifice bunt RBI. And he starts off with a called strike 1. Really liked what we've seen out of Gary Mattis in the second, third, fourth at-bats of the game. He has really struggled as the leadoff hitter of the game. His only hit coming in the last week in that leadoff spot as the first one up in the first inning, coming against Gateway. He pushes something out towards center field, chasing after is Robertson, backtracking and pulls it in for out number 1. So quickly 1 up, 1 down. Start for the Otters. Let's take a look at the Thunderbolts defensive alignment. Robinson, Robertson, and Vanderwaal around the outfield. Myers, Boone, Mercer, and Layer around the infield. Garcia behind the plate. Matthews on the mound. Garcia behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Zach Bierman takes ball 1 to start off this at-bat. He was the hero last night with the RBI single in the 10th inning on a hit he just pulled to the right side, snuck it through the first baseman and second baseman. And speaking of those two, they are pulled hard to the right side over there. 2-0 to Bierman. Just catches the low outside corner with the off-speed pitch there. Count at 2-1. Next pitch, sent right back up the middle. Is it going to sneak through? No, it's grabbed by Boone. Thrown over in time for out number 2. Not quite enough behind that hit from Bierman, and he'll have to head back to the dugout. With it, it'll bring up the 3-hole hitter, J.R. Davis. Davis has spent the last couple nights in the 5-hole, went 0 for 4 last night. Give you a little bit more information on Kenny Matthews, the starting man up there for the Thunderbolts. In his last start, he threw 6 2/3 shutout innings against Gateway. And from that time on, or in the middle of that, he retired 13 straight hitters. J.R. Davis, 2 strikes back to back, has him down in the counts. Matthews, a couple of years ago in 2019, struck out 7 and gave up just 2 hits in a big 7-inning shutout against Evansville in early May. The 0-2, and it's accidentally hit back into the netting. Matthews is a former 7th-round draft pick by the Cleveland Indians back in 2013. He was in the Indian system for about 4 years and played just about 45 games while he was there. As the ball works low and inside, even in the count at 2-2. So he certainly knows his way around professional ball. A little bit of a wait here before the 2-2 count for J.R. Davis, trying to extend this first inning. Sent chopping to the right side, played pretty simply by the first baseman Layer, and that is all she wrote in the first inning. After 1 full, it's Thunderbolts 0, Otters 0. We're heading to the second right after this. Top of the second inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Quick couple half innings to get us started here, and Justin Watlin settling in well already, starting off exactly the way he wants. I'm excited to see how Watlin continues the success he's found early in this season. This is a quality opponent to pick up another quality start against. This is a really good Windy City team. While they might not have the consistency in their bats, they really have good pitching, and that's going to be what keeps them a lot closer in things this year. That currently the Thunderbolts have the 15th best, which is second to worst, batting average in the league, and that's the big difference maker in their game. First pitch to Manny Garcia. Oh, he cranks this one to the left side, but it's foul. Just a tad bit in front of that one. They say it went 371 feet, but it went the wrong direction. The 0-1 for Garcia. That one works again high and inside, and it's a bit too far inside for ball one, even the count at a ball and a strike. Here comes the 1-1. That one misses low and away. And quickly, Watlin is now down in the counts. Garcia is the catcher tonight. Played first last night. Looking at the 2-1, a hefty swing, and he chops through it. Was a bit in front of it as well. And the count's even at 2-2. Two balls, two strikes to Manny Garcia. Justin Watlin still working well in this one. This ball is sent out towards left. Baez takes 5 or 6 steps back and then a couple to his left side and hauls it in for out number 1. That'll bring up the second baseman, Jace Mercer. And Mercer enters the game batting .214. 4 of his 12 hits are for extra bases, 3 doubles, 1 home run. He's second on the team in strikeouts with 20 of them. First pitch works a bit too far low and inside for Mercer. Mercer took a lot of time stepping back in. And here comes the 1-0. Again works inside, and that one also dropped to the dirt a bit before it got to the strike zone, so it's a 2-0 count. No base runners in this game thus far for either side. Both teams looking to be the one who breaks it open. 2-0 and a ball chopping back towards the backstop here at historic Bosse Field. Still time to come join us here at Bosse Field if you're here in the Evansville area. 2 games coming at you tonight. Both of them are 7-inning contests. This one started about 5:30. We have the second one slated to start about 7:30, but it'll get started about 30 minutes following the conclusion of game 1. The 2-1 just catches the outside edge. Mercer asks a couple questions about why that one was called. And I guess he got the answer he needed because he's ready to step in. Looking at a 2-2. Pitch stays high and outside. 3-2 now the count to Mercer. The first full count we've seen in this game. Really difficult time to be a hitter as the shadow is right in front of home plate. The full count pitch catches the high outside corner. It's a called strike 3 strikeout. Another German-American bank strikeout for Justin Watlin. So Mercer doesn't love the call, but unfortunately he has to live with it. And it's the second German-American bank strikeout that brings us to the third batter of this second inning, Jake Boone, the shortstop. Big swing from Boone, but he was over the top of it on a pitch right down the middle. Sinsley back on the available list for the Otters tonight after another swinging pitch from Boone. He's down 0-2 in the count. Sinsley was on the COVID IL list this week, but he was good to come off today, and he's back down there with his teammates in the dugout. The 0-2 to Boone. Swinging strike 3. It's back-to-back German-American bank strikeouts that end the second inning after 1.5. It's Thunderbolts 0, Otters 0 on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Time for the bottom of the second inning. Otters were sat down in order in the first, so that means it's Phillips, Baez, and Mcnamee due up in the second. Good start for Justin Watlin on the other side of the ball as the Otters saw him strike out 2 in that top half of the second. First pitch to Dakota Phillips, glides in there for a called strike 1, just over 80 mile an hour. Another pitch stays a bit low this time, so the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Here comes the 1-1. This one's lifted high, but not too deep to the left side and shallow left. It's actually the left fielder Robinson who hauls it in for out number 1. So that will bring up the left fielder Jeffrey Baez, who is rocking a new walk-up song here in this 3-game set. You know, it's been a really tough year for Baez. Right now he sits with the, at least on the active roster, the worst batting average for the Otters, sitting at .228 entering the series, and didn't do himself any favors in yesterday's game. Really looking for a breakout game to help increase that average. First pitch just misses on the outside edge for a ball 1. Baez 0 for 3 last night, reached on a walk in the first inning, was stranded out there. Another pitch outside, and the count's 2-0. Matthews up there is a left-handed pitcher, and for the Otters this year, they haven't fared super well against left-handed starters. 2-4 against lefties, 11-5 against right-handed starters. So they would definitely prefer that the man up there is pitching on the other side, but they're going to have to deal with a good arm of Matthews. 2 back-to-back hefty swings from Jeffrey Baez, and he comes up empty on both. He's down in the count. Evened up now at 2-2. The infield is hugging a bit towards the edges. A 2-2 on the high inside corner, and Baez gets caught swinging for a strike 3. The first strikeout of the game for Kenny Matthews. So the 6-hole hitter, right fielder Elijah Mcnamee, heads his way towards the batter's box. Last night, Mcnamee went 1 for 3 with a double in the 5th. One batter later, he came around to score on Miles Gordon's double. Mcnamee has traded in his quality batting and also a bit of the name Big Hit Mac for his outfield ability and the new name of Big Fly Mac, as he is just diving after every ball out there in right field and somehow always comes up with it. 0-1, and they work high and inside on him. He tips it foul into the glove of Garcia, and he's down in the count 0-2. Otters quickly looking at potentially their last strike of the half inning. Here comes the 0-2. Again, high inside. They check. Did he go? No, he did not. So the count is at 1-2 for Elijah Mcnamee. Otters stay in town this weekend. They welcome the Gateway Grizzlies to town for Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Deacon is healthy night tomorrow night, and it's 80s night tomorrow night. So if you want to come join us here at Bossy Field, first pitch is scheduled for 6:35. Gates open at 5:30. Love to see you out here. Then Saturday is Princess Night between the Otters and Grizzlies, and Sunday, as a pitch is sent to the right side and foul, will it get far enough away? It will, and the count stays at 1-2. Sunday, for a 5:05 first pitch, we welcome Schnucks and River City Pride for Pride at the Park night and Dog Days of Summer. So bring out the dog and get discounted hot dogs on a Sunday afternoon. The 1-2 to Mcnamee. He lifts this one out towards shallow right center field. Center fielder Robertson is underneath it for out number 3. And so far, we've had 12 batters come to the box for both sides combined, and it's 12 up, 12 down. We head to the 3rd inning right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Ready for the top of the 3rd inning, and between these two sides combined, 12 different batters have seen home plate, and 12 different batters have turned around and walked right back to the dugout. No one finding their way on base yet in this game. So for the Thunderbolts, they'll have 7, 8, 9 due up. Jake Vanderwaal, Peyton Robertson, and Jose Laird due up for him. Vonderwall did appear just for a second last night. He had 1 at-bat after Bryn Martinez was tossed. He struck out in that 1 appearance. First pitch he sees this time sends it right at Mattis at second, and it's over to Bierman in plenty of time for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out for Watlin in the 3rd, and it'll bring up the center fielder Peyton Robertson. Robertson making his first appearance of this 3-game set. But Robertson is a .283 hitter, has 13 hits so far this year. That's good for 4th most on the team. He's tied for the team lead with 3 triples. And the first pitch just stays a tad bit low for ball 1 towards Jake Vanderwaal. Don't forget that game 2 of this doubleheader will start about 30 minutes following the conclusion of this one. Ball chopped out towards left center, and it drops for a base hit. The first one of the game for either side is a 1-out single to Jake Vanderwaal. And now the 9-hole hitter, first baseman Jose Laird, heads out there. Laird also did not appear in last night's game. Enters the game batting .182, just his 5th appearance this year. 2 for 11 at the plate thus far. Pitch is outside for ball 1 to start off this at bat. Peyton Robertson over there on first is pretty good on the base paths. 7 of 8 this year in stolen base attempts. They're going to go check on him over there at first, but he's back in plenty of time. It's one of the things that makes Watlin kind of special up there on the mound is he has a really quick throw over towards first. Here comes the 1-0. This one's chopped towards the left side. Davis to second for 1. Now to first, but they won't be even close to the out over there at first base after the slow exchange and quick moving legs of Jose Laird. Zalayer will reach on the 5-4 fielder's choice. So back to the top of the order we go for designated hitter Jarius Richards. Richards popped out to the shortstop Armstrong, his first time up. Ball worked its way out to shallow left center, and Armstrong dropped back to get it. It's a big swing on strike one to start off the count. And the count heads to 0-1 for Jarius Richards. Another big swing, and again, Richards comes up empty-handed. Now down in the count 0-2. This is where Justin Watlin wants to find himself, a chance to close out an inning with strike three. First, he's going to go check on Jose Layer, who's back in plenty of time. You know, Jarius Richards is a guy who's trying to keep a hit streak alive. Got him in a few games in a row now. A couple seconds wait here before the next pitch after the throw over. Everyone seems to be ready to go. Watlin with a glance over towards first. And he sends home the 0-2. Breaking towards second is Lair. The pitch out there. Is it in time? Yes, it is. What a tag applied by Armstrong to bring that ball all the way around the base. Tag out the runner for out number 3. So after 2.5 innings, we're still scoreless from Evansville in game 1 of our doubleheader. Absolutely beautiful night for baseball in Evansville, Indiana. And after 2.5 innings, we're still scoreless in this game. Searching for one side to break through. A couple of really solid pitchers in this one. If you like good pitching, we've got a great game for you. Kenny Matthews and Justin Watlin off to hot starts. So far for the Otters, it's been 6 up, 6 down. And looking to break that will be one of the heroes from yesterday's game, Miles Gordon, down to his last strike in the bottom of the 9th inning. He sent a home run over the right field wall to extend the game to extra innings. The Otters came back and won. He shows bunt on the first pitch, brings in the third baseman quite a bit, but he does bring the bat back. It doesn't matter. It's a called strike one, however. The 0-1, that one just tags the high edge of the zone, and Gordon's quickly down 0-2 in this count. You know, I won't lie to you. Some of us here in the press box had the conversation about Miles Gordon, whether he should have a permanent spot in the lineup or not. That especially came after the 1-for-20 road trip to Canada. And it really looked like things were struggling for him. But since that Canadian trip, he has been very, very hot. In fact, he has hits in half of his at-bats. He skies one towards shallow right center, getting over the head of Mercer, and it falls. Gordon's going to make it all the way to second. Waiting on the exact call if they decide that's a hit or an error. Tough play for the second baseman. But good work from Gordon to at least strike for an extra base, and they'll give him a hit for it. So he earns his way on base and earns the opportunity in the scoring book as well. That'll bring up the catcher himself, Justin Felix. Felix struggled again yesterday at the plate, 0 for 4, or 0 for 3, but did have a walk to round things out there towards the end. Ball is skied towards left center field. Coming in to make the catch is the left fielder, Robinson. And because he took that one out of the sky from Robertson, Gordon reaches third on the sac fly. No way Gordon goes to third if that's caught by the center fielder Robertson. But Robinson came all the way over and stole it from him and effectively gave the Otters a free base. Also, Miles Gordon got a double on that prior play, and now he's at third after the fly ball from Felix. So with a runner on third and one out, the 9-hole man, Andy Armstrong, makes his way up. He shows bunt for a second. Are we going to see a squeeze play for the second straight night? Tell you what, I'm a fan of small ball, so I'm in favor for it. And I think the head man, Andy McCauley, understands just how close this series could be. Another pitch that Armstrong shows bunt on, but it stays outside, 2-0 the count. Like I was mentioning, I think Andy McCauley knows how close this whole series is going to be, so maybe one run could be the difference. So this could be a really big one. 2-0 to Armstrong. He takes it for a called strike one. Didn't even show bunt that time. So the count now at 2-1 for Andy Armstrong. Here goes the 2-1. This one is chopped to the right side and foul, and the count's now at 2-2. So Armstrong surely seems that he's decided to try to swing the bat. Looking at a 2-2 count for Andy Armstrong. Here comes the pitch. He pushes this one to the right side and ends up near the sitting area on the first base side. And the count at 2-2 for Andy Armstrong. A big opportunity for him to earn another RBI on the season. Again, late to swing and pushes it to the right side. And the count at 2-2 once again for Andy Armstrong. Pitch on the way. This one sent the opposite way. He was way ahead of the off speed. Pushed it down the left field line. And the count remains at 2-2 for Andy Armstrong. Miles Gordon just 90 feet away, trying to give the Otters the first run of the game. Here comes the 2-2. Armstrong sends it right towards the shortstop, who played on 2 hops. A throw over to first is in time, but it's an RBI fielder's choice for Andy Armstrong. So he will be greeted with joy there in the Otters dugout. And Evansville has a 1-0 lead in this one. That'll do it for the first time around the lineup. So we're back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis. Mattis flew out to center his first time up. way ahead of the pitch here and swings through for a called strike, or for a strike one swinging. A 0-1, and again, Mattis is kind of fooled on it. No balls, 2 strikes to Gary Mattis. Pitch on the way, and he sends it chopping foul back into the netting behind home plate. So the count's at 0-2 for Gary Mattis, trying to extend the inning. Chops it foul. They say it goes off of his. Oh, he must have swung a bit too far. Wasn't able to check the swing in time, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Gary Mattis, but not before the Otters are able to score the opening run of the game on a fielder's choice RBI from Andy Armstrong. After 3 complete, it's Evansville 1, Windy City 0. Welcome back inside for the top of the 4th inning. Great chance to let you know that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. Leading off the 4th inning for Windy City is going to be the leadoff man in the order as well, the designated hitter Jarius Richards. He was at the plate when the last inning ended, as Lair was caught stealing. He starts with a swinging strike 1 on a pitch that just broke towards the low outside corner. Richards under 200 on the season and quickly down 0-2 after another swinging strike. Big chance for Watlin to defend a lead in this game. Here comes the 0-2 from him. This one works a bit high outside for ball 1. The 1-2 again stays high outside. So after a couple of changeups to start the at-bat, starting to change the speed a little was Watlin. The ball was fouled back towards the netting, and the count remains at 2-2. Long wait for Watlin up there. Here comes the 2-2. This one skied out towards right field. Mcnamee chasing back towards the wall. Gone. And this game is tied. I tell you what, this series has already been proving that you got to make sure you're putting 2 or 3 runs in between you and the other guys. 1-run leads are not safe. This game, just like that, tied at 1 run apiece on a solo shot from Jarius Richards. That'll bring up Dan Robinson, the left fielder. 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field already in this game. A 1-0 graces the top edge corner, evening the count at a ball and a strike. Here comes the 1-1, and again Watlin misses high and away. Watlin falls behind in the count, 2-1 now. Good time for Watlin to compose himself and keep going. 2-1, gets a hefty swinging strike on the off speed. Robinson is the middle of 3 lefties that start this lineup for Windy City. So here comes the 2-2. Just missing the high top corner was Watlin. That was a really good pitch. Last night, that might be a called strike 3 with the way the outside was called. But instead, we've got a full count. This one's lifted out towards left center. This could be extra bases. Gordon running all the way out to the tailor-made sign out there, and it's a stand-up double for Dan Robinson. Back-to-back extra base hits for Windy City to start the 4th inning. So now, one of the, or if not the best hitter on this Windy City team will head to the plate with a runner in scoring position and no outs. Daryl Myers hitless in yesterday's game. That was his first time in 10 games he's been held without a hit. Waiting a long time is Watlin. Here comes the first pitch to Myers. Catches him swinging on a low inside pitch. Off speed yet again. 0-1 the count to Daryl Myers. He leads the team in RBIs. Big RBI chance here. An 0-1. Showing bunt for a second was Myers. He pulls away, and because the ball gets over the top of Felix, reaching third with ease was Robertson. So that'll be on a wild pitch that with now no outs, there's a runner on third. The pitcher and catcher have a quick meeting out there and get things situated. Justin Watlin really needs an impressive next couple batters to try to work out of this jam and keep the game at least even. The 1-1 to Daryl Myers. Catches the outside edge? No, not quite. A few off-speed pitches in a row from Watlin. Haven't really seen him pull out the fastball. So he'll try on the 2-1. Myers lifts it out towards right field. Mcnamee towards the wall. Gone. And just like that, Windy City has a 3-1 advantage in the 4th inning. So quick, this game has turned around in favor of Windy City. 2 home runs given up by Justin Watlin. That one went 385 feet, cleared that wall by maybe a foot. And just like that, the Bolts have taken the lead. Still no outs here in the top of the 4th inning. Swinging on the 0-1 is Garcia. That pitch stayed in the dirt. Count at 0-2 for Manny Garcia. Watlin kicks and delivers. This one chopped towards Armstrong at short. He'll play it on one hop and over to first in plenty of time, finally, for out number 1 of this 4th inning. So now the 5-hole hitter, second baseman Jace Mercer, heads to the plate. He struck out looking his first time up. Don't forget that there are 2 games on the slate for tonight. Both of them 7 innings. Both of them available here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. The first pitch to Mercer stays a bit low for ball 1. First time we've seen Watlin pull out a ball over 80 mile an hour in some time. Here comes the 1-0. Again, missing a bit low is Watlin, and again, it's that fastball that's living in the mid-80s. Two balls, no strikes to Jace Mercer. Justin Watlin really patient on the mound. Here comes the 2-0. Catches the outside edge, finally for strike 1. It seems like Watlin can really only get some consistent strikes so far in this game with his off speed. Of course, then you're risking batters really picking up on that ball and taking you deep like it's already happened in this inning twice. A 2-1 is sent foul to the left side, and the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Defense is playing pretty much straight up. Ready on the 2-2 is Jace Mercer. And time is called before a pitch can happen, as Mercer was waiting a long time for that, and Watlin was taking his time waiting for a pitch decision from his catcher, Justin Felix. Now the 2-2 to Jace Mercer. Works low and inside, just about gets past Felix. And it's now a full count to Mercer. Otters desperately need a couple outs to get out of this 4th inning. The 3-2 to Mercer. That one sent sharply foul to the right side. And the count remains full. Three balls, 2 strikes to Jace Mercer. Justin Watlin trying to find out number 2 of this half inning. Here comes the 3-2. Swinging strike 3. And it is the 4th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Justin Watlin. That'll bring up the shortstop, Jake Boone, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. First offering to Boone. That bounces in for ball 1. Boone's a guy that hit a home run yesterday. Boomer to left field. Takes another pitch in the dirt for ball 2, and he's ahead in the count 2-0. Watlin entered the game so far this year, giving up just 2 home runs. He's evened that already in this game. Big swing on the 2-0. Finally earns himself the first strike of the at-bat. I was going to comment before this inning started about how impressed I was with the fact that, at least to this point, Watlin had done a nice job to keep himself ahead in the pitch count of things as he entered this half inning with under 40 pitches, but now he's sitting at 55 on a 3-1 to Boone. Misses again, and it's the first walk issued by Watlin in this one. Well, that'll bring up the right fielder, Jake Vanderwaal. Vanderwaal grounded out to the second baseman, Mattis, his first time up. It was on the first pitch he saw the at-bat as well. They're going to go check over there on first for Boone. Boone is 5 for 8 on the season in stolen base attempts. Likes to try for him, but not always successful. Justin Felix has already gunned one man down out there. The opening pitch to Vanderwaal just misses low, ball 1. Three runs have scored in the top half of the fourth inning for Windy City as they lead 3-1 here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Another pitch catches the zone. This one evens the count at 1-1 to Jake Vanderwaal. Good work on the off speed there from Justin Watlin. The 1-1, but first they're going to go check on the runner at first, and I won't lie, that was probably the closest one they've had so far in this game. Watlin has a really quick turn and throw up there on the mound. I think the only one who rivals it is Jake Polancic out of the bullpen. Here comes the 1-1 to Vanderwaal. He lifts this one high and foul down the left side. And now Watlin is ahead in the counts. Big chance for him. Watlin has given up 3 runs in this inning. First a solo shot to Richards, then a 2-run home run to Darryl Myers, all on back-to-back-to-back base hits. Again, checking over at first. That one not even close to being able to apply a tag, but Bierman does a nice job to keep it in front of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Vanderwaal. Hefty swing from Vanderwaal. He'll sit down with the 5th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Justin Watlin. But not before 3 runs score for Windy City. They have a lead now. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports right after this. Bottom half of the 4th inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Pleased to be bringing you Frontier League Baseball here on both. You know you can catch the Otters every single game, home and away, right here on the Otters Digital Network. It's audio only, but we at least bring you the stream to listen from anywhere. Ready to start off in the bottom of the 4th will be the First baseman, Zach Bierman. He grounded out to the shortstop his first time up. First pitch he sees here, sends it out towards right, drops for a base hit in front of the diving right fielder, Vonderwall. One pitch, one hit for the Otters to start off the fourth. Good way to react to Windy City's top half of the fourth inning. Quickly, that'll bring up the third baseman, J.R. Davis. Grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. Davis is looking for something that can really power him through these middle couple of games of this series, as he's really struggled in the last few. First offering to Davis. He lets go for a called strike one. Kind of seems like with Davis, you're either getting a multi-hit effort or you're getting a zero-hit effort. It's been difficult to get a lot of consistency out of him thus far. That's why he's moved around in the lineup a lot, hoping for a big game here that can kind of break open his season. Throw over to first. Close to a balk. Just got to keep an eye there on Matthews. Can't be leaning too close towards home before you toss that one over. The 0-1. This one's chopped towards the left side, but foul. You know, and I'll say this and take it with a grain of salt. Bierman's not really the type of guy you have to worry about stealing bases, yet he's 2 for 2 on the year. Both of them he was really ahead. I mean, he had a really good jump in both of them. Davis looking at an 0-2 count here. Pitch on the way. That one works in towards the hands, and he can just foul it back towards the awning here at Bosse Field. That one ends up back out towards the first base corner. And now we're ready to go once again on the 0-2 to J.R. Davis. Long wait on the mound for Kenny Matthews. A glance over towards first. Here comes the 0-2. Extending the hands and sending it right back to the pitcher. They'll go to second for one. To first. Not in time. J.R. Davis able to leg one out over there, and he'll reach on the fielder's choice. But Bierman is caught on his way to second. So you'll score it 1-6 there. 1-6 on the fielder's choice. That allows Davis to reach first. Phillips ready for his first or second offering of this game. First time up, he popped out to the left fielder. Takes a called strike one to start off this count. Davis over there on first, and they'll go over and check on him. He's back in plenty of time. Davis, another one that's not going to steal a bunch. 1 for 4 on the season. Again, they'll check over on him. He's back in time. Count still at 0-1 to Dakota Phillips. On the way. Big swing on the strike two from Phillips, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Phillips had a really rough stretch to round out the 3-game set against Gateway. Ended up striking out 7 of his last 8 at-bats in that series. Takes a ball and stills behind in the count, now just 1-2. Davis with a decent lead at first. They'll go check on him again. He's back in plenty of time. A 1-2 count to Dakota Phillips with 1 out and a runner on first. Swinging strike three will sit Dakota Phillips down on strikes. First time tonight he's had a strikeout. It's the third of the game for Kenny Matthews. Now making the walk to the plate is the left fielder Jeffrey Baez. He was the first one guilty of a strikeout in this game back in the second inning. First pitch to Jeffrey Baez, but first they're going to go over to first, and Davis is back in time. A lot of worry for a guy who's 1 for 4 on the season in stolen base attempts. Here comes the first pitch to Baez, stays high for ball 1. He readjusts his footing and starts to dig in for the second pitch. Only runner on is Davis at first. There's 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Off speed, stays high and outside. Count heads to 2-0. The count. The pitch is on the way. Skied high, but foul to the right side. Really good crowd on hand so far here at Bosse Field. Still time to get here if you'd like to join us. Doubleheader tonight. Game 2 will start approximately 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game. Love to see you out here for Thirsty Thursdays. 2-1 to Baez. He tips this one foul back towards the glove of Garcia, and the count heads to 2-2. This is where Jeffrey Baez needs a hit to break through on these opportunities with 2 outs. The 2-2. He sends this one to the left side through for a base hit. How about that? The big man picks up his first hit of the game. So with 2 down and now 2 on, the right fielder Elijah Mcnamee makes the walk to the plate. And I'll be guilty of repeating myself here. Mcnamee is another one who could really use a big hit here and break through. Mcnamee had a quality double yesterday, but really needs a nice RBI base hit somewhere here to keep his hot streak alive. First offering to Mcnamee. He sends one towards left field, and it's just a bit foul down that left field line. That would have been a huge base hit. Tell you what, Baez might have scored from first on that. He had a unreal break from first. Mcnamee has reached in 15 straight games. That is a team high on base streak. It matches George Khalil's. The 0-1 to Elijah Mcnamee. Lifts one high and semi-deep to the right field area. And Vanderwaal brings it in for out number 3. Otters strand 2 in the bottom half of the 4th inning. We head to the 5th with the Otters down 3-1 on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Top half of the fifth inning coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And this is a game, because it's shorter with it being a doubleheader game, the Otters needed to hop on top of things a little quicker. We'll see if they can do it here in the fifth. Want to take the time to let you know that Frontier League Baseball and Flow Sports is presented by our friends at Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Justin Watlin sticking up there on the mound for the Otters. He has allowed the 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors for either side. Making his way to the plate now is the 8, 9, and 1 hitters this inning. Peyton Robertson will get us started. He had a single back in the third, but was caught advancing to second on the fielder's choice. Called strike 1 against him to start off this count. That was on the low outside corner. Pitch bounces in there, evening the count at a ball and a strike. Here comes the 1-1 to Robertson. He pushes this one to the right side, but it gets quite foul. Might be able to hear the cowbell behind me. Secret weapon in attendance tonight. 1-2 count to Peyton Robertson. A chance for Watlin to pick up his 6th strikeouts of this game. The 1-2. Yes, he does go around. It's a swinging strike 3 that sits down Robertson, and it's the 6th German American Bank strikeouts of the game for Watlin. 1 down, no one on, and the 9-hole hitter first baseman Jose Layer makes the way to the plate. Reached on a fielder's choice there in the 3rd inning, but then was caught stealing second. Close play out there at second, but Armstrong did a nice job to whip that tag around and get it in time. Ball high and in starts us. 1-0 the count. Big swing on the 1-0 that broke towards the dirt, and counting is up at a ball and a strike. One again works inside. High and inside to be exact. 2-1 the count to Jose Layer. 1 out, no one on in the top half of the 5th inning here. Otters trail by 2. Watlin trying to keep it that way. The 2-1 skied straight back and over the top. Actually lands on the roof right above me. And the count's at 2-2. Two and two the counts, and time is called by Layer, so we'll have to wait a second. Watlin on the 2-2, swinging strike 3. It's the 7th strikeout of the game for Justin Watlin. Watch out, he's starting to get comfortable up there on the mound. Exactly what the Otters needed from him. 7 German American Bank strikeouts so far in this game from Justin Watlin. We head back to the top of the order where Jarius Richards makes his way to the plate. 1 for 2. He had a solo home run in the 4th inning. That led off the scoring for Windy City. 2 batters later, they took the lead. Shows bunt for a second, and it must have stayed just a tad bit high, maybe outside for ball 1. Richards, long way from home. Gig Harbor, Washington. Looking at a 1-0. This one stays outside. Count it 2-0 now. Watlin trying to keep the ball far away from him. 2 balls, no strikes. And here comes Justin Watlin. Drops one in for a called strike one. Like that pitch, right in the middle of the zone on the outside edge. The 2-1. Oh, almost in the exact same spot. Must have just stayed a bit too far outside. The count now at 3-1. Big pitch here from Justin Watlin. The kick and delivery on 3-1. Swinging strike 2, and we've got a full count. This is the type of situation where Watlin's got to prove why he's the man for the job. The 3-2 bounces in there for ball 4. And on the full count, he walks Richards. So with 2 down and now a runner on first, the left fielder Dan Robinson heads to the plate. 1 for 2 in this game, had a double in the 4th inning that followed Richards' home run. He came around to score on Darryl Myers' 2-run home run. He also got an extra base on a wild pitch in there. Long wait for Watlin. First pitch to Robinson. No, we're going to toss over to first and check on the runner. Richards back in time. Just an update on Richards. He's 5 for 6 in the stolen base category this year. Again, they go check over on first, and Richards back in time. Had to call time for a second and walk off. Landed pretty aggressively that last time diving in. Might have knocked the wind out of himself for a second. Three-1 the count here in the top half of the 5th inning. Watlin trying to get himself out of the inning. Runner heading towards second. The throw out. Oh, and it comes out of the glove of Armstrong. Had it stayed in his glove, it surely would have been another man caught stealing. So close to another runner gunned down in this game. But the ball just sneaks out of the glove of Andy Armstrong. And Richards will be in there with a stolen base. Stepping back in is Dan Robinson, looking at an 0-1 count. It's now a runner on second. This would be an important RBI if he were to earn it. Watlin with a glance out towards second. Here comes the 0-1. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that broke low and inside. Now Watlin's in the driver's seat. Due up in the next half inning for the Otters is going to be Gordon, Felix, and Armstrong, where the offense kick-started in the 3rd. But before that, Watlin's got to get the team out of the top half of the 5th inning. The 0-2 towards Dan Robinson on the way now. Sent foul to the left side. Watch out up there in the stands. Souvenir for you on the 3rd base side. Count remains at 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes for Dan Robinson. He's got a runner out there on second if he could bring him around. Justin Watlin wants no part of that. Watlin shakes off a couple of pitches, and time is called. 0-2, the count remains. Pitch on the way. It's sent out towards center, and Gordon is going to get himself underneath it for out number 3. And a 2-out walk will not come back to haunt the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Otters trail by 2. Got some work to do here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Lots of fans in attendance here at historic Bosse Field for a Thirsty Thursday. You're seeing the ending of the Paramount Dental Smile Cam here from Bosse Field. We're ready to go with the bottom half of the fifth inning. Otters have got to get something happening, though, as they're running out of innings to work with, and they still trail by 2. They'll start off with the part of their lineup that got the offense working the last time they were up. Miles Gordon, Justin Felix, and Andy Armstrong. Gordon had a double there back in the third inning on a pitch that was just, or a ball that was just misplayed out there in shallow center field by the second baseman Mercer. First pitch he sees, sends one to the right side. Is it going to get through? It does for a base hit. And Gordon has his second hit of the game, and it's back-to-back multi-hit games for Miles Gordon. And so far this year, he's up to 7 multi-hit games. That's tied for the team lead with J.R. Davis and Dakota Phillips. He has really started to find his groove. Wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially in motion out there this time. Justin Felix heads to the plate. Flew out to left his first time up, and I tell you, Felix is a guy who's really been trying to perfect his swing to make himself a better hitter. Once he breaks open, he's going to be hard to stop. He's a bit in front of the first pitch for a swinging strike 1. Felix digging back in. Infield is playing at double play depth, outfield straight up. They're going to go check on Gordon at first. He's back in time. So digging back in is Felix, ready for the 0-1. They head this way. Ball stays high, count evens up at a ball and a strike. Let's start to take a look through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. In the completion of a suspended game from last night, New Jersey has defeated Lake Erie 3-2, furthering Lake Erie's struggle in the West Division. They now fall down to 4 games back of Washington. Empire State and Quebec obviously not playing tonight. Same with Ottawa and Trois-Rivières. Both of them rescheduled for July 12th because of weather up there in Canada. The 1-1 to Felix. Off speed stays high and outside. Tri-City currently leads Washington 5-1. Evansville wants a win tonight, and they want a Washington loss because that would result in them taking the top spot in the West Division. Washington, of course, down 5-1 in the third inning. New York currently trailing Sussex County 3-1 in the third inning. Tied at 0-0 are Gateway and Schaumburg in the second. And Joliet has a 1-0 lead over Florence in the top half of the second inning. We'll keep you updated with the Frontier League scoreboard, brought to you by Fox Sports WIFX. The 2-1 to Felix. Big swing. He comes up empty, however, and he's down in the counts to 2-2. Long wait for Kenny Matthews up there. Still waiting. Now he's got the pitch call he wants. And again, he throws over to first. Gordon back in time. Some of the Otter faithful starting to get a bit restless with the throwovers. Gordon's been good to keep himself close. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Justin Felix. Matthews with a long look at first. Here comes the 2-2. This one is skied high and foul. Chasing over there is Lair. He thinks he's got it, and he falls over as he brings it in for out number 1. And Felix will head back to the dugout for the Otters. In just about every other ballpark in the Frontier League, that is a foul ball out of play, but not here at Bosse. Huge room on both the right and left side of this infield in foul territory. Looks like time is called out there, as the first baseman Lair is readjusting his belts after falling on that last play. Andy Armstrong due up now. He had an RBI his last time up. He brought home Miles Gordon with a RBI fielder's choice. The first pitch to Andy Armstrong on the way. Big hack from Armstrong. He comes up without any contact and falls down in the count 0-1. The 0-1 for Armstrong. Sends it towards the right side. Nice snag from the first baseman to second for 1. They will not get back over to first, however, and they're able to get the lead runner of Gordon, and quickly there's 2 outs here with a runner on first for the Otters. But quickly there's going to be a meeting up there on the mound. Doesn't look like Windy City's getting anyone ready out there. The entire infield goes in to have a chat. Quick meeting there by the head man, Brian Smith, and they look like they're ready to keep going. Could have just been a, hey, good work out there, keep it going talk. We head back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Gary Mattis. 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout so far for him. Really needs something of quality here. Small lead for Armstrong over there at first. And the first offering to Mattis stays high for ball 1. Secret weapon trying to get the Otter faithful into this with the cowbell over there. The 1-0 to Mattis. Off speed just misses on the outside edge. That's a pretty pitch, but it doesn't end up doing anything there. 2-0 the count to Gary Mattis. If he can find a way on, Zach Bierman heads up, and that would be a huge opportunity for him. The 2-0 on a line to the left side. Nice snag by the shortstop to second for the one they need, and that ends the inning. Unreal work by this defense from Windy City. We head to the 6th inning with the Otters still trailing 3-1 in this one. Well, in that bottom half of the fifth inning, the Otters had a leadoff base hit. Couldn't do anything with it, though, and they end up going down on two straight fielders' choices. And we head to the sixth inning. Still Justin Watlin tossing there on the mound for the Otters. Regardless of if the game ends like this or not, he's had another really strong outing. Other than the 2 home runs, he has been really solid in this game, pitching around some tough situations and keeping himself close. Daryl Myers heads into the box. He had a 2-run home run in the fourth inning. Right now, that's the game-winning home run. Watlin with a long wait before the opening pitch of the inning, and it's on the way. A swinging strike one. Watlin is averaging just over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. Forces a pitch to be skied out towards the left side, and he's quickly ahead in the count 0-2. For Watlin, he has picked up at least 7 strikeouts now in all 5 games he's pitched this year. The 0-2 is sent screaming foul to the right side, so we'll remain at an 0-2 count. Defense playing pretty much straight up out there, maybe a tiny bit shifted to the right. The outfield is indeed shifted to the right just a hair. 0-2 to Myers, and again he fouls one up and over the left side of the stadium. Oh, 2 count to Daryl Myers. This is a battle Watlin needs to win. Pitch on the way, and it's fouled back and out of the glove of Justin Felix. Big sigh of relief for Daryl Myers. He stays alive in the count. The 0-2 to Myers. In there, called strike 3. It's the 8th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Justin Watlin. Man, when you're the best hitter on a team, you can't lay off a pitch like that. Watlin served it up on a platter and earned the strikeout with it. It'll bring up the catcher, Manny Garcia, who's 0 for 2 so far in this game. Garcia skies one towards center field. Gordon thinks he's underneath it. And he hauls it in for out number 2. Quick out 2. So now with 2 up, 2 down, the second baseman, Jace Mercer, heads in. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts so far. Jace Mercer looking for redemption in this game. First offering's high outside, ball 1. The 1-0 from Watlin. Swinging strike 1 evens this count. Absolutely had Jace Mercer fooled. He went down to a knee swinging at that. One ball, 1 strike towards Jace Mercer. Watlin with a long wait, now fires home on the 1-1. Just misses on the high outside corner on the off speed. Nice offering. A lot of hitters are going to chase after that ball. Just not this time. Watlin with 8 strikeouts so far in this game. The 2-1, that one is sent foul. Oh, man, just about had an unreal catch from a man out there at the third base side. Instead, the count evens up at 2-2 with 2 outs. The 2-2, high outside, full count. Watlin looking to close out this half inning. The 3-2 to Mercer. Lifted up towards left field. Baez with a long run out there, backpedaling and pulls it in for out number 3. And we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning with the Otters still looking to bring themselves back in this one. They trail by 2 as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. You're joining us for an absolutely beautiful night for baseball in Evansville, Indiana. Game 1 of our doubleheader here. 2 5-inning contests coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning with the Otters trailing by 2 in this one. And the hero from last night, Zach Bierman, will get us started in the bottom half of the 6th. He'll be followed by Davis and Phillips. First offering to Bierman. He cranks one down the right field line, just a hair foul. He had the game-winning single in the bottom of the 10th inning last night to give the Otters their first walk-off win of the season. 0-1 to him. Lets this one fly far outside for ball 1. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. The 1-1 to Bierman. Again, the pitch stays high and outside a bit. Good work from Bierman to lay off on something like that. The 2-1. Bierman lifts it high and deep towards left field. It's going to stay in the yard. No, it works its way all the way to the fence out there in deep left and falls in front of the third baseman, Myers. Kid's going to get a souvenir out there. And now the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Zach Bierman. Base hit for Bierman in the 4th, but he was caught on a fielder's choice on his way to second. The 2-2. Bierman lifts it out towards left field. Robinson thinks he's underneath it and hauls it in for out number 1. Solid contact for Bierman. Comes out to nothing. That will bring up the third baseman, J.R. Davis, who's 0 for 2. A ground out to the first baseman back in the 1st inning, and then reaching on a fielder's choice in the 4th. Needs a base hit. That pitch stays just a bit inside, not by too much though. And the count's at 1-0 for J.R. Davis. A 1-0 again stays towards the inside, but this one's called strike one. Davis doesn't love it. Now he's got to adjust on a 1-1. 1-1 for Davis. He sends one on the ground to the right side. Almost misplayed by the second baseman, Mercer, but he's able to recover well and get it to first for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th inning. Otters quickly running out of chances, as now it's the designated hitter, Dakota Phillips, who's 0 for 2 in the game, who's going to try to redeem his day. Phillips finally stepping in. A pop out and a strikeout so far in this game. Phillips lays off on the first pitch, but it's a called strike one anyway. Have to mention it's just about once a game just because I love it so much. Dakota Phillips played for the Lightning Sloths in the Constellation Energy League there in 2020 as the Frontier League was taking a year off. And now he sends one out towards left field. It's going to drop in front of the left fielder Robinson, and Phillips has picked up a base hit in the second straight game, trying to restart a hitting streak after he watched his 10-game hitting streak come to a close in the final game, or in the middle games, against Gateway. Quick discussion on the mound, and that's going to lead to a pitching change for Windy City. We'll take the break with them, let you know who's coming in for them right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Braden Bonner, the new man on the mound for Windy City. 6'4", 210 up there on the bump. Appearance number 10 on the season for him. ERA south of 1.0. Exactly what you'll take out of a relief guy whose job is to get in and get the couple outs he needs. This call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And the pitcher-catcher battery is Bonner on the mound, throwing home towards Garcia. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Braden Bonner out of Murray, Utah, trying to relieve Kenny Matthews and snag the one out that he is brought in to snag. Due up for the Otters is Jeffrey Baez and Elijah Mcnamee. They're at least the next two. Biles will look to keep things going with 2 outs and a runner on in the bottom half of the 6th. Right now, the Otters down to their last 4 outs offensively, so they've got to get work going quickly. So the big man, Jeffrey Baez, looking for his second base hit of the game. First offering of this at-bat. On the way. That one works high inside, just about clips his elbow. But the counter heads out to 1-0. Really good crowd on hand here tonight at historic Bossy Field. Still time to get over here for game 2 if you'd like to join us. The 1-0 to Baez. Ooh, hefty swing, but he came up empty-handed. Was a bit in front of that one. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. The fastball, he just overestimated. One ball, one strike to Jeffrey Baez. 2 outs and a runner on first. The throw towards Baez. Works way inside. He has to jump out of the way. And with it, the count advances to 2-1. Joe Riley starting to warm up for the Otters out there in right in case he's needed. Logan Sawyer is also up and at least stretching just in case he would be needed. The 2-1 to Baez. Again works high and inside, and he's a pitch away from potentially earning a walk. The secret weapon with the cowbell, hoping to will Baez to a walk with 2 outs here. Bonner ready on the 3-1 to Baez. Pitch is on the way. This one's grounded down the third base line. Looked like it went off the foot of Baez, and because of it, it was called a foul. So the count heads to full. Slowly walking back to first was Dakota Phillips. He's the runner on first for the Otters. A glance over to first for Bonner. Ready on the full count pitch to Jeffrey Baez. On the way now. Baez to the left side, snagged by the third baseman Myers, over to first in time, and the inning ends. So close to Baez extending this inning, but a nice play for Myers keeps us going into the 7th inning. Otters need 3 outs to give themselves another chance in this one. We're back with more on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports right after this. Top of the 7th inning. Justin Watlin returns to the mound for the Otters, hoping to snag the last 3 outs of this. And right now, it's looking like he could end up with his second complete game in a 7-inning contest that he ends up losing because of just lack of run support from the Otters. Before we get started with the top of the 7th, I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. Jake Boone will get us started in the 7th inning. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk so far. First chance, and he swings at a pitch low in the zone for strike 1. Well, there are fans all the way to the top row, all the way to both edges. Section 1 all the way to 19, wrapped around here. Hot shot to the hot corner past J.R. Davis, and it's a leadoff base hit for Jake Boone. He'll stop with a single. Not ideal for Justin Watlin. Joe Riley had started to warm up for the Otters out and right in that last half inning. He sat back down. So now Watlin is looking at a no runs in the back pocket, but a runner on situation. And Jake Vanderwaal heads to the plate. Swinging strike one for Vanderwaal, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout so far in this game. A reminder that Game 3 of the series and Game 2 of our doubleheader will directly follow this one. 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one, we'll have a new stream here on the Otters Digital Network. Keep an eye out for that. Also, a new stream will be available on Flow Sports, so keep an eye on that. Shortly after this game ends, we'll have a quick post game, and that's when the first one will end. Just take a quick look for the next one, and that's where we'll start Game 2. 0-1 to Vanderwaal, but first they're going to check again over at first, but back in time is Boone. Count still at 0-1 for Jake Vanderwaal. Watlin with a glance over, and now here comes the 0-1. The off speed, hit over to Bierman. To second for one, to first. Over the head of Watlin. It's going to go all the way back to the wall. It won't matter, however. And Vanderwaal will not be able to advance. So it will just be a 3-4 fielder's choice that allows Vanderwaal to reach. Well, the Otters get away with one there. And I actually had that wrong. It's actually a 3-6 fielder's choice. Again, a throw over to first. Ooh, that one was really close. But Vanderwaal's back. Justin Watlin. Glance over to first. Ready for the first pitch to Peyton Robertson. Again, he'll throw over to first. And again, it's a really close play. But Vanderwaal's back. Jake Polancic starting to warm up for the Otters out there in right field. Peyton Robertson still waiting on his first pitch of this at-bat. Here it comes, and it stays outside. Felix able to keep it in front of him, however, but it's ball one. Otters remain in town this whole weekend as they welcome Gateway to town for a 3-game set starting tomorrow night. They beat the Grizzlies in 2 out of 3 games last weekend on the road. Now they've got a shot to do it here at Bosse Field. 1-0 towards Peyton Robertson. Sends it right back up the middle. Long run for Armstrong, and they end up having the ball go out towards center field. So it's another base hit. Just barely gets over the glove of Armstrong. He made a good run towards it. And a couple of base hits have runners on first and second with one out in the 7th. So close from Armstrong picking that ball up and getting the Otters a double play that could have ended the inning. So now the 9-hole hitter, Jose Layer, into the box. He's 0 for 2, reaching on a fielder's choice in the 3rd and striking out in the 5th. First offering here. This one's skied towards the right side. Bierman chasing it into foul territory towards the wall. Bierman runs into the wall, and it actually gets its way towards the seating area, and a kid's got a souvenir baseball over there. So Bierman will make the jog back into the field of play and will get set for the 0-1 for Jose Layer. Long wait for Watlin between some of these pitches. A look out to second. And here comes the 0-1. This one is chopped foul back towards the Otters dugout. And Watlin now has himself ahead in the count 0-2. Runners on first and second for Windy City with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning. The final inning of this game 1 of our doubleheader. Here comes the 0-2 to Jose Layer. Stays low, ball 1. Just about everyone in attendance tonight, as we've seen the owner of the Otters, Bill, bussing around here quite a few times. John Stanley, the president of the Otters, has been socializing down there in the concourse. A 1-2 to Jose Layer. Swinging strike 3. Big strikeout there for Justin Watlin. It's his 9th German-American Bank strikeout of the game. That is the 3rd time this season he's had 9 strikeouts in a game. That ties a season high for him. And that might do it for his day. Max Peterson having a walkout to the mound. And he'll make a change. We'll take the break with him. Jake Polancik's going to get the nod out of the bullpen. We'll tell you more about him right after this here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. New pitcher for the Otters here in the top of the 7th inning is going to be Jake Polancik, who is seeing action for the 2nd time in a few games. He appeared in last night's game, gave up 1 run on 1 hit and 1 inning of work, struck out 3 later in the inning, however, and was able to help out there in the middle innings of last night's game. 11th appearance for him. In the games that he has been successful in, he's been really successful. But in the games he's struggled in, he's really struggled in. He's open for a good one here and will get set for the, in his eyes, the only batter he wants to face, Jarius Richards. 2 outs, 2 outs, 2 runners on. And Polancik really just needs to snag 1 out and in the inning. This call to bullpens presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Polancik on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. First pitch from Jake Polancik on the way. A nice pitch that just misses on the outside edge for ball 1. Jarius Richards had a solo home run in the 4th. That tied the game. 2 batters later, Daryl Myers gave Windy City at least what now is the game-winning runs. Polancik takes a deep breath. No glance out towards second. Now here is one. And a 1-0. Swinging strike one, just about swinging out of his shoes, was Richards. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Would not be surprised if our announced attendance tonight is over 5,000. This place is absolutely packed, but there's still room for you if you'd like to come out for game 2 of our doubleheader. It'll start about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. It's Thirsty Thursday. A 1-1 for Jarius Richards. Pitch on the way from Polancic. Misses outside. Runner on second is Vanderwaal. On first, Peyton Robertson. 2 outs in the inning. Polancic's job is just to grab 1 out. Here comes the 2-1. Oh man, not sure where that one missed. Maybe just a tad bit low. Looked like it caught that inside corner. But the scoreboard shows a 3-1 count now. Polancic with a long wait between pitches. Ready on the 3-1. Big pitch here. Catches the middle of the zone. And evens our count up at 3-2 with 2 outs. With 2 outs, all Polancic needs is an out. Doesn't matter how he gets it. Can be in the air, can be on the ground, can be via the K. Just needs to get it. Time is called by Justin Felix behind the plate, and they'll reset the count. Obviously, to avoid any sign stealing, you've got to change up the way you're calling pitches. Every single pitch with a runner out there on second can never be too sure. Full count pitch on the way to Richards. Swinging strike 3. Polancic does his job. We head to the bottom half of the 7th inning after a German-American Bank strikeout. Otters need 2 if they want to come back and tie or win this game in the 7th inning. Don't go anywhere. The conclusion's coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Well, it's now or never for the Otters. Bottom half of the 7th inning, and they're going to have to go up against a new arm. A call to the bullpen for Windy City. This call to bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. The new man up there on the mound, Daniel. Oh, I had the wrong number. Sorry, Lane Schnitz-Paxson, who actually lost the save yesterday in an opportunity yesterday. He ended up taking the loss in the 10th inning. They'll hope he can grab the save in this one. He'll go up against Mcnamee, Gordon, and Felix. It's Schnitz-Paxson on the mound, thrown home to Garcia. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. So Schnitz Paxton heads up to the mound. He'll face Mcnamee, Gordon, and Felix. Tell you what, I know he hasn't played in a few games. If it's me, I might consider throwing Steven Sinsley out there to bat instead of Felix in the 8-hole. Of course, we'll see what actually happens. First pitch for Mcnamee, and he chops one foul to the left side. With the way Felix has struggled at the plate in recent games, I just think that Steven Sinsley, especially with a couple days rest, might give you an opportunity to get that all-important run. Of course, we'll see what the scenario looks like when it's time for that at-bat. It does look like Sinsley has a batting helmet on down there, so maybe I just read the mind of Andy McCauley. The 0-1 to Mcnamee. He lets that one go, and it's a called strike 2 on the high edge of the zone. Secret weapon trying to help the Otters here, getting the cowbell lively. He's kind of moved around to every section of the ballpark to help get everybody involved. 0-2 to Elijah Mcnamee. He's got to find something here. At least keep himself alive in the count. The 0-2 sends one out towards left center field. That's going to fall for a leadoff base hit. Exactly what they needed from Elijah Mcnamee. And due up next is the Otters' most explosive hitter in the last, 7 games, really. Miles Gordon. He hit a solo home run in yesterday's game to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th inning. A solo home run here would tie the game yet again. First offering to Miles Gordon with a runner on first and no outs. The bottom of the 7th. High outside ball 1. 2 7-inning games here as we conclude this 3-game set between Windy City and Evansville. Game 2 of this doubleheader starts about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. The 1-0. Gordon to the right side. Second baseman will play it on one hop to second for 1. To second. Not in time. Gordon legs it out over there at first, and they'll only get 1 out. 4-6, the fielder's choice there. Mcnamee caught on his way. And it looks like Justin Felix is going to take this at bat. Steven Sinsley is now in the on base or the on deck spot. So he will fill in for Andy Armstrong, it looks like. First, Justin Felix has to do something. 1 out to run one runner on first, in the form of Miles Gordon, who could be stealing on any of these pitches. First pitch to Justin Felix. Lets it go for a called strike 1 on the high outside edge. On the season, Miles Gordon, 4 for 6 on the base paths. See if he heads for another one here. The 0-1 for Justin Felix. Again, lets one go. This one stays just a bit to the outside. Otter faithful trying to help will the Otters to a second straight final inning comeback here. 1-1 the count to Justin Felix. 1 runner on, 1 runner out in the 7th inning. Felix chops it off of his foot. The foul ball results in a 1-2 count now. The defense playing pretty much straight up. Maybe double play positioning in the infield. Outfield is a bit slanted to the left. So Felix looking at a 1-2 count. Gets ready to step back in a big positioning for him. Needs something to happen. So now we're ready for the 1-2. Felix took his time getting back into the box. The 1-2 count to Felix. Low and away. Count evens up at 2-2. Looks like Joe Riley is warmed up and ready to come in for the Otters if he is needed in an extra inning. Another decent lead for Miles Gordon over there on first. Here comes the 2-2 to Felix. Swinging strike three, and Felix will sit down on the strikeout. And now with 2 down and a runner on first, a pinch hitter. Steven Sinsley is going to hop in there and take his first at-bat since the final game of the Lake Erie series. You have to go all the way back to June 2nd to find his last at-bat. Sinsley does have 2 home runs on the season. They came in the same game prior to the Canadian road trip. The first offering for Sinsley stays low, ball 1. Sinsley's a left-handed hitter who has a lot of strong power on that left side. He enters this game hitting .250 overall this season, 4 extra base hits. Some extra time needed before the next pitch. Schnitz-Paxton ready to go in the 1-0. That one covers the zone on the high outside corner, and the count evens at a ball and a strike to Steven Sinsley, who right now is the last hope for the Otters. Miles Gordon over there on first for the Otters. And here comes the 1-1 from Sinsley. Stays too high. And Sinsley's ahead in the count 2-1. Sinsley steps back in. Gordon takes his lead over there at first. Otters currently down to their last out of the game. The 2-1 again catches the zone, almost in the same place that first called strike did on the high outside corner. And the Otters down to their last strike in the game. Two for Steven Sinsley, trying to avoid to be the final out of this first game of our doubleheader. Otters need something from him. Time called. Miles Gordon retreats back to first. Now takes his lead once again as Sinsley hops back into the box. 2-2 count to Steven Sinsley, trying to extend this game in the bottom of the 7th. The 2-2. Swinging strike 3, and that's how game 1 will end. Our final game of this series is going to be a rubber match. We'll talk a lot more about that in a little bit. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we've got post-game stats and reaction. Game 1 of our doubleheader, won by Windy City 3-1. After 7 innings here, we'll be right back with more here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And for the final time in Game 1, welcome into historic Bossy Field, where Windy City has managed a 3-1 win over Evansville. It was the Otters who got the first say in this one. That came in the third inning on an RBI fielder's choice from Andy Armstrong that scored Miles Gordon. Then, in the very next inning in the top of the fourth, 3-run score for Windy City. First off, a solo home run from Jarius Richards, then a double from Dan Robinson, gives Daryl Myers a chance to hit a 2-run home run, giving them a 3-1 advantage. And that is the score that held all the way to the end in this one through 7 innings. Receiving the loss in the game, but man, that's a tough luck loss, is Justin Watlin. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits, striking out 9, tying a season high in 6 2/3 innings of work. Jake Plancett came in and snagged that final out of the 7th inning just to help him out. And on the other side, Kenny Matthews earns the win. It is the second win of the year for Kenny Matthews, advancing him to 2-1 on the year. He gave up 1 run on 5 hits and 5 2/3 innings of work, striking out 3, walking none. Braden Bonner came in just to grab the final out for him. And then Lane Schnitz-Paxton earns the save in relief, giving up no runs on 1 hit in that final inning of work. Worth noting for Windy City is obviously the 2-hit day for Peyton Robertson, a couple of singles for him. Then, of course, the 2-run home run from Daryl Myers that was the eventual game winner in this one. As for the Otters, Miles Gordon, another impressive day for him. A double, a single, and reaching on a fielder's choice. He's now reached in over, or he's gotten hits in over half of the at-bats he's had in the last 7 games. And that's the big difference maker right now for the Otters, as they have had consistent success from their center fielder, Miles Gordon. They'll hope he can continue it in Game 3 of the series and Game 2 of our doubleheader. That will take place in around 35, 40 minutes. Keep an eye on both here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports, as the new stream will be starting very shortly. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, and for my partner who could not be here tonight, Bill McEwen, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters Baseball. I'll talk to you in about 20, 30 minutes as we get set for Game 3 between Windy City and Evansville here from Bossy Field. We'll talk to you in about 25 minutes here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports.